BitCoin Mania! How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about Bitcoins, obviously. The last video I made was when Bitcoin was about $10,000. Today it stands at $14,000 already. With this rapid price movement, people are getting a little bit edgy, asking me to do a remake video and just kind of give additional thoughts on what to do going on from here. But first, I have an unboxing of an actual Bitcoin here. This is a physical Bitcoin. I'm quite excited because I bought this from China and they have this really slow shipping. I think it was like 30 to 39 days for shipping because I essentially paid like $2.10 for this thing, and they're able to somehow ship this thing, including postage, all the way over here. So here it is. It's really neat. It is in a case, but I really want to handle this thing. I don't care if it tarnishes, it's only $2, but oh wow. So here's the Bitcoin again without the case, and then the back of it has all the circuitry. This is my Rio Cougar Rand gold coin from South Africa. Now I just weighed this. This is about 1.2 ounce, and this one is slightly larger, and the thickness is about the same, but it weighs 1 ounce. So you can see that this gold coin is actually, a little bit denser than this, but it has some good weight to it. Being 1 ounce, it's pretty hefty. Well, this is quite fun, having an actual Bitcoin. Now, I wanted to get this to sort of commemorate me actually owning cryptocurrencies and having one of them just to hold around and just kind of remind myself that, yes, I do hold something like this. This thing runs for about $2 or so on AliExpress, by the way. So I'll let T-Rex hold on to this for now, and it can hold on to my other gold coin as well. If you don't know how to invest in Bitcoin and if you're interested in it, you can check out my Coinbase referral link down in the video description below, where you can get $10 free as long as you buy in, I think, $200 worth of Bitcoin, then you get $10 added on into your account. And I do recommend to go in very slowly here, more like 0.5% of your total portfolio every single month. That's how slow I recommend you to do it right now. So what I noticed recently with Bitcoin, and everybody probably noticed as well, that the price increase has been increasing in rate. Now, when you have an exponential increase, it basically means the percentage of increase is constant. So it's kind of like a rocket ship in space, where if you have a constant thrust, it's going to get faster and faster. Exponential is kind of like that too, sort of like in a portfolio where, let's say you have an 8% gain every single year, and then you compound this over many years, then the actual amount at the end, it's going to look like it's an exponential. However, with Bitcoin recently, over the last year, the rate of increase is actually not staying still. It's actually accelerating. If you look at the price history of Bitcoin over all of the history, you can see that it basically, it's pretty flat. And then all of a sudden recently, it just goes bam. It's like a hockey stick, and it increases very quickly. Over the last year alone, it increased 17-fold. This is 1,728%. Over the last month, it increased 96%. Over the last week, it increased 44%. Now you can do a little bit of math here and figure out what the rate of increase for every single day is for each of those periods that I mentioned. Over a 1-year period, if you have a 17-fold gain, basically you have a 0.7% compounded gains every single day. If you do the same thing for the last 30 days, which is 96% gain, is essentially a 2.3% gain every single day. Now, you start with something, okay, 2.3% gain the first day, and then the next day you also gain 2.3%, and so on and so forth for 30 days, and at the end of 30 days, you'll get 96% gain. Over the last 7 days, there's a 44% gain, and you do the same thing. That means every single day you have a 5.3% gain every single day. Now, what I'm trying to illustrate here is that the gains has been accelerating. This is all I'm trying to say. 5% of $14,000 is about $700. So by the time you watch this video, it's likely going to be increased a little bit. And by the end of the day of when I release this video, it's likely going to approach $15,000. Now, what I really wanted to do was analyze the chart, basically pull some data out, put it into Excel, and just kind of look at it on my own, look at it on the log plot, because apparently I can't find that many log plots on Bitcoin pricing. If you look at the linear plot of this thing, it's basically going straight up is actually not a good thing, because this is very, very dangerous for new investor that buys into it. There's a lot of price risk. If it ever drops back down to normal, then there's going to be a lot of losses, and a lot of people will be really hurt by this sort of correction. And I see this coming. It's coming. So I converted it to a log plot over here, and you can see that in a log scale, it actually does not look that crazy after all. However, in 2011, you also see it accelerate, increase in pricing, and then right afterwards, it kind of dropped back down by roughly 1 order of magnitude. Now, what is 1 order of magnitude? It means if it was $20, it dropped down to $2. Now, imagine if you invested $14,000, you bought 1 Bitcoin, and it dropped 1 order of magnitude, which means 90% loss. Suddenly, $14,000 became your $1,400. Now, that's going to hurt really, really badly. Over there in 2013, something like that also happened. It peaked around $200, $300, and then it dropped by some, but not too much. However, in the next peak in 2013, you see it reach around $1,000. Over the next 1.5 years, it sort of kind of tapered down. It slowly came down to about minus 75%. So it dropped down to like about $250. After this, it'll take another 1.5 years before it reach the point of the peak of about $1,000. So what can you learn from this? Bitcoin price is really, really volatile, and sometimes it might get ahead of itself. The current pricing of Bitcoin does look like it's a little bit ahead of itself. But if you want to kind of eyeball the chart and then go, you know, where is it going to go next? You know, I would eyeball it at like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. It could be anywhere in between that. Anywhere between now and probably 80,000, 100,000 even. And eventually, it's going to sort of fall back to the mean over here. Not quite all the way down to $1,000, it seems, because it's just kind of going upwards. It has a slope to it. So if it ever falls down, it's going to fall down to the average price. Now, what is the average price? Is there a valuation to it? No, it isn't. I'm just reading this chart and just kind of eyeballing it. And you'll notice at the very early part of the chart over here, the slope is like kind of like really high. After the initial crazy slope, it came back down. The second slope is a little bit more tamed. After the second bubble pop, you can see that the slope is yet again not as steep as the first slope or the second slope. I have the percent gain per day, and I listed it across every single day that Bitcoin traded. And you can see it's very, very noisy. And you can see at some point in a single day, it actually increased by 0.5, which is 50%. Now, this is a bit too noisy for me. I kind of want to average things out. So what I did is take 7 of those days and just kind of average them so that I can see things, you know, a little bit smoother. It'll be called a 7-day moving average. And when you do that, yeah, it does smooth things out a little bit. And then you can see, you know, the spikes aren't as crazy, but still from this per day price gain average over 7 days, it's still a bit noisy. So I went to a price change every single week, and then I take the moving average of that, and then you can see it's starting to smooth out a little bit more. Finally, I'm doing a price gain every single week, doing a 30-day moving average here. What you can see here in the first year of trading, there are, you know, very high spikes where, you know, it goes up to like 0.3, which is 30% gain per week, average over 30 days. And, you know, the second really, really larger spike over here is 50% gain per week, average over 30 days. Now you can see the next bubble here around 2013, where the price gain is about 30% every single week for 30 days. Fast forward to today, which is 2017, you'll see that the average gain per week, average over 30 days, is roughly, you know, 10% every single week. In comparison, the price gain is not as strong as before, and it kind of looks like it's going that way. The initial run-up is really, really high. The second run-up, it's not as prominent as the first one. So, and just from extrapolation, it kind of seems like this current run-up is not going to be as prominent as those previous price gains, where you're going to see 30% gain every single week on average over 30 days. Now, this is kind of hard to kind of digest because it's sort of like an average of an average. I go look on the Times article where they had a poll. So I voted myself. I think personally that it's in a bubble. And here you'll see the result of that. And you'll see that, it's pretty 50-50. Half of the people think that it's a bubble, strongly think it's a bubble, and half thinks that it's fairly valued, and then you got a whole bunch of people voting in between. So you want to think about it this way. I made a video about Bitcoin reaching $10,000 a while ago. If you bought Bitcoin at $10,000 and then you saw your money increase by 40%, then wow, you must be a pretty smart investor to ignore me, basically. What I see with a lot of people that are super pro Bitcoin is that I don't think they're selling any of it at all. I think they're hoarding as much as they can, and possibly they might be taking credit card loans out, taking cash advances or something, and buying Bitcoin and basically holding on to it, thinking the more the better. This is where the greed kicks in, and this is where the typical bubble psychology comes in. Back in the .com days, I heard more people hold on to their assets, see it go sky high and then fall back down. They held on to everything. So I don't quite understand this. For me, I am just selling a little bit here and there. Of course, I still have the majority of my holdings, but what I'm essentially doing is I certainly did not buy any Bitcoin ever since 2,600 when I talked about it in the first place. Ever since then, I've been taking a little bit off the top. Of course, it might reach, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And, I'll be like, I'll feel bad, I guess, maybe I could have waited that much longer. And then, rather than cashing out early and not making all the gains, I could cash out much later. But the way I've seen any kind of huge run up like this, it's super hard to predict. That's why I recommend dollar cost averaging out. I don't know when it's going to pop, but now I truly believe that it will eventually pop, and it might take a month, 2 months, 3 months, but certainly within 6 months, I think. If I were to give a best guess of when it'll actually pop, I'd say $30,000, $40,000, because eventually we're gonna see the rate of increase even more. We see it jump up $1,000, $2,000 now. Next week, we might see it jump up $3,000, and then it's just gonna increase from there. And from this action, people are gonna see, oh my gosh, easy money. More and more people are gonna jump in. Let me go back to the example of 2013 where it ran up to about $1,000. Let's say you saw it run up back then and then you bought into it. And then it slowly trickled downwards, okay? Over the next 1.5 years, it trickled down minus 75%. So you're gonna keep on seeing your investment go down and down. So let's say you put in $10,000. If history repeated itself, then you're going to see it trickle down $9,000, $8,000. And this is really, really grueling over a period of 1.5 years. You're going to have to watch your money go down basically about $800 every single month or so. And it'll, notch down a little bit at a time. And then you'll eventually see it bottom out at $2,500. And if you have your life savings in it, and I feel like there's quite a bit of people out there doing this, but they're probably not willing to admit this. I think I saw a comment or two saying that, they basically invested everything they have in Bitcoin, and, Bitcoin is the future and whatever. If you have all your money in there and let's say it does reduce in value, then you're going to be feeling pretty bad over the period of 2-3 years. Now, I'm not saying there's no future for Bitcoin. For those people that says, oh, Bitcoin is the future. Yeah, I look at the technology and I'm like, it's something, that can be used in the future. It's going to be decentralized, then you have all this nice features, all these nice technology features of Bitcoin. I'm not contesting the usefulness of it and the good store of value. However, it's not a good currency because of the price fluctuations. If you just look at the rapid price increase, you'll realize that this is in a localized bubble. If you keep it long term, okay, I think it'll be fine, okay? Even right now, if you buy at $14,000, if you have the patience to wait, say, I don't know, 5 years, I bet it might do something like, okay, let's say $14,000 is the peak now. It might drop down to, let's say, $4,000, okay, over a period of 1 or 2 years. And then, over a couple of years, it's going to come back up to $14,000. But most people don't have this type of patience. If it ever falls down by 80%, people are going to panic, people are going to sell, and people are going to lose a lot of money in the process. So what should you do as an investor? I personally am not buying any Bitcoin at all. But if you're interested in buying Bitcoin, and I suggest to buy very, very slowly, like so slowly right now. If you just want to get in and just kind of partake in the festivities, and every time it goes up at $1,000 and you can go hooray, right? Then only invest about 10% of your total portfolio in total, and you cannot buy all of this at once. You need to, go even slower now. I would recommend go like 0.5%. So 1/20th of the 10% that you would put in. So let's say you have $100,000 to invest totally, and you don't put all of that in. Let's say you only have $10,000 that you would put in Bitcoin. Most of it is in US dollars cash, and then you would only put in $500 every single month. Okay, this is how slowly I would recommend you to invest right now because of the extreme run up of the price. If you buy into it now and if it drops down in price, you're gonna lose a lot of time, and time is what's important for an investor, because you don't have the time. You don't want to waste 5 years of just having your money sit idle in it and wait for it to, claw back your money basically. So I do hold the majority of my Bitcoin holdings, but I am kind of dollar cost averaging out. And I sold, I don't know, 3 rounds or 4 rounds of it already. Once at 7,000, once at 10,000, and another time at 14,000 or something like that. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below. Let me know when you think the peak of Bitcoin is going to be. Do you think it's going to be 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, or higher? If you're interested in supporting my channel, check out my Coinbase referral link down in the video description below, or check out my Audible link down in the video description below where you can get a free audiobook. I also have a Patreon over here where I give perks such as help with your credit score or help with your finances. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel over here and click that bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you get a new notification whenever I upload a brand new video. Thanks for watching.